Hey, we're Jim and Brianna. I know this is going to be a different video from what you normally see on Scratch Babble, and in the future, if anybody's interested in follow-up videos, we'll probably do those on our Brianna and Jim Facebook page, and I'll then link to Scratch Babble. But there have been a lot of comments and questions recently about Pillion, Brianna, and what's going on with her health-wise. It first came up, I think, in our wedding video when people were asking if I hit you with a club to make you walk with a crutch. Not exactly.
Not yet, anyway.
But what I want to preface this with is to say this is about A, what we've read, B, what we've been told, and C, Brianna's experience and our experience. We are not experts on this. Until 3 months ago, neither one of us had ever even heard of psoriatic arthritis, I don't think. So this is just how it's
progressed, I guess.
Right, progressed in our lives. So this is not everything you need to know about psoriatic arthritis, but there are several layers to this. There's how it came on and when we discovered it, and how we're progressing through trying to get treatment now, and longer term effects. And also how friends and acquaintances can help. And by help, I mean with the psychological end of things, because there's a physical and a psychological effect from psoriatic arthritis. So just wanted to state that up front, that we're not trying to tell you, we aren't experts on this. We're learning as we go. So this all really started when for you, the first inklings that, and you didn't think it was psoriatic arthritis or anything like that?
I've had back pain, and I just figured, I've had 3 kids. I'm getting a little older. I just figured, that was normal. But then I had tried a new birth control pill, and I had an allergic reaction to it. And I had a little patch of psoriasis right here in my scalp, like behind my ear. No one could see it. And it came back when I was having that reaction. And so I finally went to the doctor. It was right around Christmas time. It was before we went to your mom's, I think. And before that, I went to the doctor and, was seeking treatment for the psoriasis on my scalp. And he had said, well, are you having any joint pain? And I know I looked at him like he was stupid. And I'm like, no. I mean, I didn't think about anything at the time. And then after I left there, I'm like, what is he talking about? So I started doing a little research, and then by the time January rolled around, I was starting to have a lot of hand pain. My fingers are really sore. I always get up in the morning first thing and brush my teeth, and I was in tears.
And redness, and she was having inflammation. I mean, you could see the redness. Her hands were pink from here, and it would lighten up as you moved out.
Almost like, when you have your hands under hot water.
Right.
It looked like I had my hands under hot water, and I didn't. So that, and having tears in your eyes when you're trying to brush your teeth, that was an eye opener, So I was like, okay, well, this isn't normal. So I was also starting to have like hip pain, my toes, and it was like the top of my foot. In between my toes and my heel. I mean, that whole top, it was sore to walk. And so I finally made an appointment, told him all about that, and he referred me to a rheumatologist, and he said, I think you have psoriatic arthritis. And he was like, this just seems like a textbook case of psoriatic arthritis.
So this would probably be a good point before we continue on with the story to tell you that psoriatic arthritis is very different from what is normally associated with the arthritis you get from aging, and that it's actually more similar to rheumatoid arthritis in that it is an autoimmune disease. So your immune system is attacking your healthy joints and the tissue in the joints. In the case of rheumatoid arthritis, and in the case of psoriatic arthritis, it does that as well as the skin, is how I understand it. It can it attacks healthy skin cells as well, which is apparently brought on by the psoriasis. Again, we're not experts. This is just a general overview, but a lot of people have been say, well, oh, I'm dealing with arthritis too. And the closest I can equate it to in my world is I used to, and I still probably will in the future, have cluster headaches. And when I would have cluster headaches and I would mention I was in a phase, people go, oh yeah, I deal with migraines too. Well, there are two very different types of headaches. There are very few similarities between migraine headaches and cluster headaches. Entirely different. People obviously well-meaning, and they're telling me what they would use for their headaches, which does not at all work for cluster headaches. Similar thing with psoriatic arthritis. People with I'm brain farting on the name of the arthritis associated with it.
Osteoarthritis.
Thank you. Osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis, although rheumatoid is very similar. They share a lot of the same things. There are some differences. So they're even treated similarly, but not the same. So just wanted to make a distinction in the differences there. So appointment with the rheumatologist. But it took a month.
It was over a month.
She was already, and by now the pain has gotten crazy.
Well, and in the meantime, my family doctor was trying to treat me. So he was putting me on prednisone, like a high dose of prednisone, to try to get the inflammation down, and in turn that would help with the pain. And then I was taking an arthritis medicine and all that kind of stuff. But when I was on the higher levels of prednisone, my knee actually blew up. I mean, I don't know if you can share pictures in the video of how big my knee got.
I'll try to find them and throw them up here, but it literally looked like somebody had taken. It looked like a Hollywood special effect. I mean, her knee was this big around, and Brianna's very thin, and so that accentuated how far blown up it was. I mean, it was unbelievable. And she obviously couldn't straighten her leg. There was heat, pain, several things associated with this. And this was in between the time from saying you needed an appointment with a rheumatologist and actual getting in on the appointment. 4 weeks. So this thing kept progressing.
Yeah, I think it was longer. I think it was like 6 weeks.
Could very well have been.
Yeah, it was a long time.
It seemed like forever.
But then it got to the point, my knee was so bad. I was sitting at my desk at work one day, and I stood up, and I realized I just couldn't walk on my knee like that anymore. My coworkers kind of had to help me out to my car, make sure I got there okay, and they were trying to drive me home, and I wanted my car at home and all that kind of stuff, and I cried the entire way home. It's my right leg, so I drive with it. And then when I finally made it home, I asked Jim if he would, I said, I think it's time for crutches, a cane, something like that. My oldest daughter had to help me undress that day from my work clothes. So that was, and my kids, I don't like to cry in front of my kids, so that was a tough day. So when I actually went into the rheumatologist for my appointment, I was already using a crutch to help me actually walk. And then he had started some treatment. It took forever to get approved for the Humira injections, and they're really, really expensive. So of course the insurance company doesn't want to approve it because they don't want to pay for it. And I had started, a few other things, methotrexate injections. My mom gives me the injections in my stomach. That hasn't helped. The Humira hasn't helped. And in the meantime, I have developed, in addition to the psoriatic arthritis, I now have what's called complex regional pain syndrome in my leg, and they don't know exactly how to treat it. It's kind of one of those things that the name changes every so often because they kind of try to change it with the symptoms and this, that, and the other. I don't know.
What do you mean by that the name changes? You mean what they think it is changes?
Yeah, and that in turn changes the name. Like they kind of, the way my rheumatologist explained it is they come up with a name that they think will cover everything. And then they realize, okay, well, that doesn't encompass everything that they're going through, so they kind of change the name.
So they're still trying to kind of define it.
Yeah, and he said that they change it. So there's a lot of times they don't know how to treat it. Mine has gotten to the point where he can't effectively treat my psoriatic arthritis like he should be, because the CRPS is so bad. We need to get that addressed first and get that taken care of before we can move forward. I've had x-rays, I've had a bone scan. I will have an MRI of my leg done in a couple days. What else have I had done? I can't remember at this
I can't even
point.
keep up with it all. And half the time it comes back relatively normal. Then other times it comes back elevated, and the different markers are elevated. But one
But then
thing
sometimes it's perfectly normal.
where we are right now is she still needs a crutch. She can barely get around. She definitely can't get around without the crutch. She's in pain constantly. She doesn't sleep very well at all because of the pain. So she's exhausted all the time. And a lot of these things, when you Google psoriatic arthritis, or if you see any of the postings in the support group, like she joined on Facebook, as did I, to learn more about it, and you see a commonality of problems, then you've got this added additional pain. But the biggest thing, or one of the biggest things, is how it affects your whole outlook, your mental outlook on things. Because on the outside, except for when she has an exceedingly swollen knee, you look at Brianna and you think you would never know. Well, that's a double-edged sword, because there's also the feeling that people are afraid you think people are thinking that you're exaggerating, or that it's not as bad as you make it out to be. So there are a lot of illnesses that you just can't tell looking at somebody that something's going on. And then there's the added guilt as a coworker, as a mother, as a spouse, as just a general human with friends. There's a lot of guilt.
Yeah, there is. I feel right now I can't even clean the house. I have a shower chair to help me shower. I can't take the kids to the park. We live in the most gorgeous place ever, and I can't even take them to the beach. So there's a lot. I really feel bad for my kids. One day I was normal, and then the next day they woke up, and it's been quite a change for them.
If you read the posts in the community, there are good stories. There are people who, it's one of those things where there's a protocol that you have to advance through in trying to address these different things, and the fact that she's got two things going on makes it doubly so. You can't just, okay, this didn't work for 2 days, now let's skip to this. There's a protocol you have to follow with the period of time involved. Part of that is pain management, and that's where you get a lot of people that make suggestions. Well, have you tried this? Have you tried that? Well, I'm not going to get too deep into it, but part of it is protocol of time spent trying different things. You have to spend the appropriate amount of time before they allow you the next thing. And then another part of it is, like, obviously so many people have suggested some kind of CBD oil, but there is pain management will not treat you if you have used CBD oil. We're not going to get into that big time. That's for another video, for another day. But so we're at their mercy of following their protocol. And where we are now, well, why don't you tell them?
My last appointment was this past week, earlier than the week, and he has told me that he wants me to file for disability. He doesn't think that I can work anymore, and I agree with him. It's just getting too hard. And he is also referring me to the Mayo Clinic, because everything that he's trying is not helping me. And he said, let's just get a second opinion just in case I'm missing something. So that's what I'm doing. I have to go. They've separated my appointments. So I'll have to see rheumatology at the end of July. We're actually going to go to Jacksonville, to that Mayo Clinic location. And then I'm waiting to hear this week They think that I'll have to go to pain management for this complex regional pain syndrome, but they're not exactly sure which department would fit me best. So we'll probably have to go there a couple times. And then I'm contacting an attorney to help me with the disability, because I heard that that's, a very long and hard process. So, not only do we have, the stress of my health and, all of that goes into it, but now we have financial stress because, we depend on both of our incomes every month. And now, with me not working, that's an added stress on Jim. Not only is he having to clean the house with little help from the kids, does all the grocery shopping, does basically everything, and now he has the stress of coming up with the additional funds that I can't contribute now. So,
and that's something, that I've said all along, and she believes it too, that takes care of itself. I mean, I've been working on something on the side with a friend now for a few weeks that is about to launch that will, in essence, I'll be working 2 jobs. So, we think we're going to be okay as far as, being able to pay our house bills. And then, of course, the big question is going to be insurance and what happens with insurance, because she'll lose her insurance next month. And
I already met my deductible early this year with everything going on. So, if I would get on Jim's insurance, it's not as good as mine. And
not even close.
Yeah. And I'd have to meet a new deductible and, go down through, that whole thing again. Well, when you're not working, having a $2,000 deductible is, not easy.
And with her job, they have an exceedingly small office.
Mm-hmm.
So in investigating COBRA, they are too small of a company for her to qualify for the federal COBRA. So it's the state
continuation
that you would have to do it through. And it is very, 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 very expensive.
Yeah.
Very expensive. So that's something that's coming up that we're going to have to figure out as well, is the insurance end. The whole intent of this video is not to sit here and say, poor, pitiful us. The whole intent of this video is for people to maybe understand a little bit more about specifically this autoimmune disease, psoriatic arthritis. Give you an idea of anybody in your life who might be suffering with some kind of autoimmune disease. They may not show it all the time, but they're in a lot of physical and mental pain. It's not easy.
Yeah, just because the outside looks somewhat normal does not mean that what's going on the inside is normal. So anyone going through an autoimmune disease needs a great support system.
So hopefully, maybe down the road as this grows again, we're going to start posting a lot of this on another YouTube channel that we had started a while ago just to have some fun with, and we've never really done anything with it. It's Brianna and Jim on YouTube. We'll post updates there, and maybe that can be a place where we can interact with other people that are having. This isn't specific to psoriatic arthritis. Any kind of long-term illness is just. It affects everybody. It affects the family. It affects your friends. Obviously, it affects the individual that has it. But there is a lot of hope out there. It's just, I think the patience is the hardest part.
It's hard, and it's a tough pill to swallow, knowing that you're never going to be normal again. The life that you had 6 months ago is never going to be the life that you're going to have. I mean, they can treat you, and you can get somewhat normal again, but you're still, I already have damage to my hips, and my lower spine shows degenerative disc disease. So there's already damage done that they can't do anything about. So all these treatments try to prevent it from happening worse.
But hopefully we can get Brianna to a place where it can be managed somewhat, because right now they call them flare-ups when everything's, everything's under attack. Well, she's been under attack now for about 3 months without any receding of those symptoms. So the first thing we're trying to do is get her to the point where hopefully that it does recede, and then it's a matter of then managing the flare-ups. We're not there yet.
And I just want to cut in and say, if you have psoriasis, you have a 25% chance of getting psoriatic arthritis. So if you have psoriasis, if you have any signs of any kind of joint pain, please start seeing your doctor, because the sooner they can, get in front of this disease, the less damage that you possibly could have. So, just really make an appointment if that's happening to you.
Can you think of anything else you wanted to say?
Not really.
Thanks to everybody. As far as Scratch Babble page is concerned, I mentioned it in an earlier vlog, and thank you for everybody's support. Brianna sees the comments, and it means the world to her.
It really does. Thank you.
And there are a lot of people who are making suggestions and trying to help, and we thank you all as well. And we're going to be, hopefully investigating every avenue that is available to us to help her out. But I just want to come back to this real quick. First of all, we want to make sure that what we were told, and actually you saw it through the support group site, that if you use CBD oil and then you go to pain management and it's detected in your blood, they won't treat you anymore. We don't know if that's true or not. We don't know if that's true or not in Florida. So we're going to look into that a lot harder, because it just doesn't make sense, especially in a state where medical marijuana is okay, that except, well, I'm not going to get into the political side of it. So anyway, we're going to check into that and see if we can find out more, and find out if there are other things. You have to be careful. The pain pills that would actually do some good for her through pain management are the ones that scare the crap out of everybody, and rightfully so. Nobody wants to become bound to those things in any way that creates an even bigger problem.
Next, it's just, oh my God, how come I can't say statistic?
Statistic.
Thank you.
Trust me, she hasn't been on any of those. But what did you say to me when I asked you about, because she told me that she wouldn't have access to those drugs, and I said good, because of the issues they can cause. But then Brianna's response was,
it's tough. I mean, I want to be pain-free at least for one day. The stuff that I'm doing right now is not giving any kind of help. I mean, it just kind of takes the edge off. So it would be great. And most of the time, people that have a chronic pain disease are not out there trying to abuse these drugs. But
they're looking for one day out of 30.
And it just kills me that people can ruin that for people that actually need these medications. And there's people out there that are abusing them, and it just ruined it for people that actually need them and are not abusing them. And it's just a shame that we can't get something that would actually help us, because people are just abusing the system. So now doctors are not prescribing hydrocodone or Percocet freely, something like that. That's all I've got to say about that. Stop abusing the system, people.
So thank you for your, first of all, for your thoughts and prayers and well wishes for Brianna. Those of you who have known, again, this is sharing this right now to this page, because this is where people have become aware that something's been going on. So we wanted to let you know exactly what's going on. And it'll probably affect the Scratch Babble channel in the future.
I need to, hang on. Everyone, this is Oscar Mayer Leaner.
Oscar Mayer Leaner. The bedazzled crutch.
You gotta laugh sometimes. If not, you'll sit and cry all day.
And she has. Anyway, thank you for your patience. In the future, we'll put these on the Jim and Brianna page. Not just these, but just things, good days too, we'll put up there. And I look forward to the video we can make for her first really good day where she doesn't have to use the crutch, and maybe can get on the back of the motorcycle again someday. And
I hope so. There will be a video of me doing jumping jacks when this happens. So if you see a jumping jack video,
we're just going to make that our goal, to put out a jumping jack video at some point. So anyway, if there's any questions or further questions or anything else that if someone in your life, we can't make any recommendations for treatment or anything else. Stick with the professionals, let them do their job, and if you're not getting any relief, get a second opinion somewhere.
Yeah, luckily I have a really good rheumatologist, but other psoriatic arthritis patients are not so lucky. I mean, in the support group, I've seen so many people going through 5, 8 different rheumatologists until they finally have someone that will diagnose them with what they know that they have too. I mean, that's the biggest issue, is there's a lot of people, this goes undiagnosed because it's so hard to pinpoint what it is. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Sorry, the brain fog's horrible too.
Yeah, well, we'll put that in the next video. We'll talk about some of the other challenges besides the pain and the getting around. Thank you for your time. Stay in touch. Love you, mean it. We're out of here.
Thanks for the thoughts and prayers. It means a lot.